Good morning. Okay, so before we jump right into the play, we need to go over a couple of vocab words and the concept of paraphrasing because that's going to be very important in today's lesson. So, the first vocab word I want to call your attention to is the word joiner. The example sentence is: My father is a joiner and builds beautiful cabinets and window frames. So, a joiner is obviously some sort of profession, but there are some words that you really, especially really old fashioned words, that you need to look up. Plays like William Shakespeare's plays, sometimes it does require that you just get out a dictionary and look it up. Sometimes context clues are not enough. So, joiner is just an old fashioned term usually associated with wooden structures. So, in this play, there's a joiner. He makes cabinets. Okay, the next vocab word we've got is mischievous. I usually pronounce it mischievous, but it's mischievous. Here's the example sentence: The mischievous puppy grabbed my sandwich and ran through the garden. So we can tell mischievous is a word that's used to describe someone or something. That would make it an adjective. In this case, the puppy is being described as mischievous because he's grabbing a sandwich and running through the garden. Seems like he's doing something he shouldn't be doing, probably making a mess. But he's not being like really bad. Like he's not evil. He's just being mischievous, right? Okay. So let's talk about paraphrasing. Okay. So when we read a play, when I read a play, sometimes I'm going to read lines that are difficult to understand. There's a lot of figurative language or words and phrases that have deeper meanings outside of the everyday meaning. And so I have to stop and put that figurative language into my own words. And by paraphrasing what the characters say, especially when they use figurative language, I can be sure I'm understanding what's happening. Notice that I did that yesterday in our excerpts. So let's look at this excerpt here. The flowers with faces straining toward the sun were as colorful as a rainbow. The sentence structure is a little complicated, right? So I'm going to break it down. Let's see. I see that the flowers are very brightly colored. So the brightly colored flowers are turned toward the sun. So I've got all the important information, right? Right. So here's our cast of characters. We've got Theseus, the Duke of Athens. So this is in Athens. It's taking place in Athens, Greece, which is way before William Shakespeare's time. So he set his own play way back in time from even his own point in time. Then we have Hippolyta, the Queen of the Amazons. You guys know the Amazonian warriors, like Wonder Woman is a member of the Amazonian women. Aegeus, he's an Athenian citizen. Hermia is Aegeus's daughter. And then we got Lysander and Demetrius. Lysander is in love with Hermia. Demetrius is also in love with Hermia. And then we got Helena. That's Hermia's friend. And she is in love with Demetrius. And then we've got Peter Quince. He's a carpenter. These characters are very different from each other, right? We got royalty, citizens, and now a carpenter. Nick Bottom, a weaver. A weaver? Is that I'm thinking when I think of a weaver, I think of someone that like makes clothes. Francis Flute, a bellows mender. So he fixes bellows. I think bellows are the things that you use in a forge to melt metal. I'm not sure though. Then we've got Robin Starveling. He's a tailor. Okay. Tom Snout. He's a tinkerer, so that he fixes pots and pans. And we've got Snug, and he's a joiner, right? You want your joints to be snug. It says in parentheses he's a cabinet maker, so he works with wood specifically to make cabinets. And Puck, aka Robin Goodfellow, who is a mischievous sprite, aka a fairy. So we've come across the word mischievous already, and it's used to describe Puck. He is a fairy who plays tricks on the other characters. He especially likes to mess with the couples, Demetrius, Lysander, Hermia, and Helena, and he causes all kinds of chaos among them. And I want you to think about, why is a fairy such a good character to use to be mischievous? I almost said mischievous. I want you to think about how fairies have magic qualities. So it kind of opens up the potential for lots of really interesting pranks. Do you know what I mean? I think Puck could probably create problems between the characters that maybe regular humans couldn't. Just something to think about. Okay. Then we've got Oberon. He's king of the fairies, right? So we've got a mischievous fairy, Puck, and we got king of the fairies, Oberon, and we got queen of the fairies in Titania. And then we got Peace Blossom, Cobweb, Moat, and Mustard Seed. They are 4 fairies, and they serve Titania. They're like her henchmen. And then Philostrate is Theseus's servant. Okay, let's get started. Act 1. The play takes place long ago in Greece. Theseus, Duke of Athens, is planning his wedding to Hippolyta. She is the queen of the Amazons, a tribe of warrior women. We already know that, right? Aegeus appears with his daughter Hermia. He wants Theseus to force Hermia to marry Demetrius, the man he has chosen for her. But Hermia loves another man, Lysander. She and Lysander decide to run away together. They tell their plan to Hermia's friend Helena, and she is in love with Demetrius. In order to win his favor, Helena tells him what Hermia and Lysander plan to do. In another part of Athens, there are 6 working men who are meeting, and they are planning to put on a play at Theseus and Hippolyta's wedding. Their leader is Peter Quince, a carpenter, and then we have Nick Bottom, a weaver, who wants to play all the parts himself. He's a ham. You guys know that guy, right? He's got to do all the parts. He can do everything, and he's very dramatic. And he thinks very highly of himself. And maybe he shouldn't. You guys know a guy like that? I think we all know a guy like that. Scene 1, Theseus's palace. Theseus and Hippolyta enter with their servants. Theseus states, "Fair Hippolyta, our wedding day draws near. 4 happy days bring in another moon, but oh, I think how slowly the old moon goes. She holds back my wants like an old widow holds a young man's money, left to him by his father." Pause. I'm going to stop here and paraphrase a few lines that refer to the moon. In the sentence that begins, "but oh," I'm going to say in my own words, Theseus is counting 4 days until it's a new moon, because that's his wedding day, and he feels that the time is passing too slowly. And the next sentence, he uses figurative language twice. He uses she to refer to the moon, and then makes a comparison. The moon is being compared to an old widow. So I'm going to say that in my own words, the moon is keeping me from my heart's desire, just like a woman whose husband died keeps her son from getting the money left to him by his father. Okay, Hippolyta says, 4 days will quickly turn to night. 4 nights will quickly dream away the time. And then the new moon, like a silver bow, will shine upon our wedding. Theseus says, Hippolyta, I won you by my sword. I earned your love by wounding you in war. But I will wed you in a different way, with fine food, dancing, and good times. Aegeus, Hermia, Lysander, and Demetrius enter. So now we've got a bunch of new people on the stage. Aegeus says, Happy be Theseus, our great duke. Theseus, Thanks, good Aegeus. What's your news? Aegeus. Trouble with my daughter Hermia. Step up, Demetrius. This man has my consent to marry her. Now you, Lysander. This man has made her fall in love with him. He has used all the tricks young men know that work on girls her age. And so he has stolen my daughter's heart. He has turned her away from me, her father. She no longer obeys me. She will not consent to marry Demetrius. And so, my lord, I ask you for my rights. As she is mine, I may give her away to the man I choose or send her to her death. You know that is our law. Theseus. What do you say, Hermia? Remember, your father should be like a god to you. He formed your beauty. You are just a copy he has printed as in wax. He has the right to leave the copy or melt it down. Okay. Pause. Let's paraphrase here, okay? Theseus said to Hermia that her father formed her beauty, and so she's just a copy that he's printed like wax. So we got another comparison here. Theseus is saying that Hermia has inherited her looks from her father, and she's a copy of him as if she were a wax figure created by him. You know, not as strong as like the original copy. It's kind of like when you make a copy of a copy of a copy of a copy, it starts, losing integrity. It's a pretty insulting thing to say. I'm also going to paraphrase next line. Theseus says that because Aegeus has created Hermia, he has the right to keep her as she is or destroy her. Jeez. Demetrius is a good man. Hermia. So is Lysander. Theseus. In himself he is. But in this case, because of your father's opinion, the other must be found the better man. I wish my father saw it with my eyes. Theseus. It's your eyes that must look at it his way. Hermia. I beg you, Lord, to pardon me. I do not know what power makes me bold. I do not know if it is right for me to stand before you, telling you my thoughts. But I must ask you, Lord, so I may know. What is the worst that may be done to me if I refuse to marry Demetrius? Theseus. Either to die or never wed at all. And so, Hermia, look inside yourself. Look at your feelings. Think of your youth. Would you be happy as a childless nun, singing songs to the goddess of the moon? That is the life that you will live forever if you don't agree to your father's choice. Hermia. So, will I live and die, my lord? This I will do before I give my life to one I do not love. Theseus. Take time to think. On the new moon, be ready to die if you won't give in to your father's will and marry Demetrius. Or else be sure that you'll forever live your life alone. Oh, snap. Okay. So, when we're reading a play or a story that's written a long time ago and or is set in a different country, sometimes it takes me off guard. I don't know, by how different things are. The people's ideas and how like the norms, the customs change over time and from place to place. And it really stands out here because, you know, Shakespeare was an English playwright who wrote this more than 400 years ago. However, it's also set even further back in Greece, and that society was clearly very different from modern American societies. So I want you to think about the choices that Hermia has here. She can either obey her father and accept Demetrius as her husband, or be executed, or forced to stay unmarried and live as a nun for the rest of her life. How do these choices compare to the choices that we have now, that women have now, when it comes to choosing a partner? Um, are there places in the world where women are denied the choice of who to marry? I can tell you from personal experience that my husband was supposed to have an arranged marriage. He was not really supposed to have any say so over who he marries. Well, he had some say so. He could choose between the women that his father chose for him, and he kept rejecting them. But he was not allowed to just go out into the world and choose whoever he wanted to. It had to be arranged by his family. So he was breaking rules by choosing who he loved. So this is still something that happens in certain cultures, just something to think about, right? This text is still relevant, even if it may not seem like it. Demetrius. Give in, Hermia. You too, Lysander. Give up your claim to what is rightly mine. Lysander. Let me have Hermia's love. You have her father's. Go and marry him. Aegeus. Yes, Lysander, he does have my love, and so my love will give him what is mine. Lysander, speaking to Theseus. My lord, I am as good a man as he. In every way I'm equal to Demetrius. In some ways I'm better. But leave such talk aside. Hermia loves me. That's what counts. And so why shouldn't I return her love? Good question. Demetrius courted Nadar's daughter Helena and won her soul. Now that sweet lady is in love with him, and he chases Hermia. Theseus. I've heard about that, and I've meant to speak about it with Demetrius. But, being so busy with my wedding plans, I did forget it. But come, Demetrius, you too, Aegeus, both of you come to me. I must have a private word with you. For you, fair Helena, you have 4 days to fit your wishes to your father's will, or else you must give in to Athens' law. Everybody exits except for Hermia and Lysander. Lysander, love, why is your face so white? What happened to the roses that were there? Hermia, they must need rain. I could well give it to them from my eyes. Lysander, from everything I've heard, the course of true love never did run smooth. Either the two were very different by wealth. Oh no, rich and in love with poor, Lysander, or else their ages did not match. Oh my, old and in love with young, Lysander, or their friends did not approve. Oh, awful to choose love by others' eyes. Lysander, or, if they were well matched, war or sickness put an end to it. Love lasts only a moment, like a sound. It is as quick as a shadow or a dream. Before a person may say, look at this, the jaws of darkness have eaten it up. Hermia, if this is how it always is with love, it must be law. So we must be patient and take it with our dreams and tears. Lysander, well said, Hermia. Now hear me. I have a rich aunt who has no children. She's always thought of me as her own son. Her house is only 20 miles from Athens. There, sweet Hermia, I may marry you, and there the laws of Athens cannot follow. If you love me, slip out of your house tomorrow night and meet me in the woods a mile outside of the town. Hermia, my good Lysander, I swear to you by Cupid's strongest bow, I swear by all the promises men have broken, which are more than women ever made. Tomorrow night I'll truly meet you there. Lysander, keep that promise, love. Look, here comes Helena. Helena enters. Hermia. Hello, fair Helena. Helena. You call me fair? Demetrius loves your fairness. Lucky you. Your eyes like stars. Your voice so sweet. Sickness is catching. If beauty were so, I'd catch yours, fair Helena, before I go. Teach me how you look, and with what art you lead the dancing of Demetrius's heart. Hermia. I frown upon him, yet he loves me still. Helena. I wish your frowns would teach my smile such skill. Hermia. The more I hate, the more he follows me. Helena. The more I love, the more he hates me. Hermia. He's a fool, Helena. It's not my fault. Helena. It's your beauty. I wish I had that fault. Hermia. Be happy. He won't see me again. Lysander and I are going away from here. Lysander. Helena, we'll tell you our plan. Tomorrow night, when the moon sees her face in the watery mirror, we'll steal away. Hermia. You know the wood where you and I would lie upon the grass when we were young and tell each other our most secret thoughts. That's where we'll meet. Lysander and I will turn our eyes away from Athens. We'll meet new people and make new friends. Goodbye, childhood playmate. Pray for us. And may good luck bring you Demetrius. Lysander, dear, we must keep out of sight of one another until tomorrow night. Lysander. Goodbye, my Hermia. Hermia exits. Helena, you too. And as you love Demetrius, may he love you. Lysander exits. Helena. Happier some people are than others. In Athens, I am thought as fair as she, but what of it? Demetrius does not think so. And as he looks on Hermia, so I love everything about him. Love can change a person's worst faults to something fine. Love sees not with the eyes, but with the mind. That's why Cupid is always painted blind. He does not think. He never has a worry. Wings, but no eyes. Blind and in a hurry. And that's why love is said to be a child, because his choices are so often wild. Love often lies. Demetrius loved me once. He swore to me that he was only mine. That was before he looked on Hermia's eyes. I will go and tell him of her plan. Then he will follow her tomorrow night. Maybe he will thank me for this news. If that is so, I will not mind the pain, for it may bring him back to me again. Helena exits. Okay, can I just say, before I close this out and tell you guys to move on to your comprehension check quiz, what is wrong with Helena? Why? Think about this. Why is she going to go tell Demetrius about this plan? Because she wants him to be happy with her, right? But why does she want him to be happy with her? Because she wants Demetrius for herself. If she were to just let them go, she'd have Demetrius to herself. Why is she so stupid? Maybe this is part of the comedy. Ah ha ha ha.